it is a Boston in transition. Clearly, you are for President Biden. What do the cities need from a Biden administration day one?
The collaboration, I think, is the first thing that we need the most. Myself and Mayor Lance Bottoms from Atlanta just did an op-ed, and we talked about the importance of having a White House that understands how a city works and understands the relationships that need to happen. And in the last 3.5 years, I've had no meetings, no conversations with the White House. The White House, the way it currently exists, is a top-down approach, and the Joe Biden White House would be very different.
Mayor Walsh, Christopher Whalen, a good friend of the show, an expert in financial history, just put out a photo on Twitter on Central Park South. And it's from the Trump campaign. New Yorkers are going to suffer, and that's their problem. That's been the attitude of this president towards Democratic strongholds, and yet we see Republican cities as well having challenges in the pandemic. How much do you need from Washington, and what will you do with the money when you get it?
Well, when it comes to mayors, mayors don't regard each other as Democrats or Republicans. We regard each other as mayors that run our cities, and we collectively need to have an administration in Washington that's going to work with us. And I can say firsthand here in Boston, from the early days of the pandemic, right through the pandemic, there's been no assistance from Washington. We've had to go it alone for the most part, including states. We've had to figure out PPE. We've had to figure out even thinking about how do we prepare our residents for the future as far as being careful and physical distancing and social distancing. Our messages have been consistent across America. It's really important. And then as racism reared its ugly head in America again, and we had protests and demonstrations across the streets, around the streets in America, this White House, quite honestly, just agitated and incited violence. And it's really, we need leadership right now. And in Boston, I'll tell you, 159,000 people have already voted before Election Day. So there is definitely a feel for change in the air. And it's not just Democratic cities, it's all cities across America.
Mayor Walsh, there is a feeling of change. There's also a feeling of fear. And my younger son last night said to me, is there going to be violence? And he's looking around and he's seeing all of the boarded up windows around New York City, and I believe in Boston as well, your town. How concerned are you about violence in response to any election outcome, particularly if President Trump is in the lead, given the fact that people in Democratic cities are the ones, honestly, that are having boarded up windows?
Just think about the question you just asked me. We live in the greatest country in the world, where freedom and democracy is what we're proud of. And we have cities and businesses all across America putting boards on windows, worrying about violence because of a general election. We've never seen anything like that. This is not a result of Joe Biden and his speeches. This is a result of a president who has failed America. This is a result of a president who's failed the American economy. He's failed everything that he claims he stands for. And I'm hoping that after today's election, we don't see violence. And what I'm focused on today is making sure that people get out to vote. People can vote without intimidation. People can vote safely. And they should be able to do that in Boston, Massachusetts, and they should be able to do that all across America today without that fear. I hope that's not the country that we're becoming, quite honestly.
Mayor Walsh, one final question, if we would, this morning. Dorchester represents the heritage of a Democratic Party that has lost so many people to the Republicans, or at least to Donald Trump. What is the policy prescription you would suggest for the liberals in your party to get back to the kind of voters that made Dorchester years ago?
I think first and foremost, we need to elect Joe Biden president today. And I think that then we go back and to kind of look at the party and not, I would say we have to rebuild the Democratic Party, but certainly we have to go back and get those Democrats that used to be Democrats and pull them back into the Democratic Party. The values of the Democratic Party are the same values that those people, the party they joined many, many years ago. And as mayor of the city of Boston, I'm committed to doing that. And as other mayors across America, we're committed to bringing our party back and representing everyone.